Hey everybody, I thought I'd make another video today since I'm a little chatty after 4 cups of coffee. In my previous video on the LSU Mounds, I almost had that one done, so let's get another site out of the way here in ancient America. We're going to go down to Mississippi. This is called the Holly Bluff Site. Now my last video was right in the middle of a place where thousands of people gather on certain times. Well, this site here, kind of in the middle of nowhere and totally lost to history today. This is the Holly Bluff Site, and there is a location right there. Let's just talk a little bit about this. Now here's the way it looks today with a house here, maybe a farm of some sort. And this is the way it may have looked maybe 1,000 years ago. And I'll talk about the dating a little later. But down here on Street View, it's a little blurry in the Street View pics, but you notice here the smaller house structure is built on top of what we have left of one of the smaller mounds here. Not only what makes this place pretty fascinating, besides there was a city here and many mounds, is there was a large moat and a 6-foot wall that went all the way around this place. And here you can see an artist's rendition of that, and that has been mostly destroyed, but you can get maybe a few hints of it on Google Earth here. Now let's just talk a little bit of the standard history of this place. But this place is sometimes called the Lake George Site, based on the location obviously, and the Mound place, some locals call this. But this comes from the Plaquemine culture, and I don't know if I've mentioned that name before, but the standard line is that they started maybe around 800 years ago, but it could go back farther than that, obviously. And there was artifacts from Poverty Point found during excavations at this site. And this site was first excavated by Clarence Bloomfield Moore in 1908 and later tested by Philip Phillips. And Philip Phillips, was he on American Idol? And also Paul Gebhard and Nick Ziegler in 1949. So it's written that this place was occupied for at least 1,000 years, and wrap your head around that, considering the age of the United States being, 250 years old. But this place here, a central mound in the middle of the city, is a little unique. But you notice this mound, this would have been right off, to the east of it, and that would have been aligned, to the spring equinox sunrise. Cross-culture, worldwide, that is a prominent and significant alignment. These were literally houses of the rising sun. And there is a house down in New Orleans they call the rising sun. Now here are some mound sites in what they call the Yazoo Basin. Here is Holly Bluff, and I have made videos on Emerald Mound and on the Grand Village of Natchez here. I will leave a couple links below. But these are other mound sites in this general area. Now from one of the excavations done here, here is some of the comments on what was found here. It says, most of the earthenware was undecorated, and that's a little bit odd. He recorded, and mostly shell tempered with some stone tempering, which is common in the Yazoo sunflower region. C.B. Moore's excavations produced various small artifacts, including projectile points, a pebble axe made of fossilized wood, a chert hammer stone, and a zoomorphic effigy pipe of shell-tempered pottery. I made a video on those effigy pipes. He was disappointed, however, in finding nothing of great importance other than 2 disturbed burials in a mound on the lakefront. It says numerous archaeologists with varying degrees of success followed up Moore's excavations. Each of the later excavations found an extremely different system of mounds. In the 1920s, the site was damaged by the then plantation owner, Mr. Charles W. Perry, who pastured cattle on the large mounds and cultivated the smaller mounds. The cattle foraged over the cover of the larger mounds, and their trampling eroded much of the site, erasing the ramps described by Mr. Moore. In 1949, Philip Phillips, Paul Gebhard, and Nick Ziegler began performing test excavations of the Holly Bluff site. These were the first truly scientific excavations carried out on the site. The interpretations of the data provided the first reliable conclusions of the cultural history here. These tests finally provided evidence that Holly Bluff site had been occupied for approximately 1 millennium. From 1958 to 1960, hundreds of skeletons were removed from Mound C. That is my video on the Holly Bluff Site. Sometimes when you try to be comprehensive, some of your videos are quickies, but here, large circle, sure that's a modern feature, but any information on this site would be appreciated. Last video, right in the middle of a very populated place. This, right in the middle of nowhere, lost to time and history, and apparently nobody gives a darn. But I'm going to cut this one off right here. If you have any information on this site, please leave it. But as you see here, I have a few more things to talk about eventually in this area of the world. The houses of the rising sun were from Poverty Point all the way up to this region. Graham Hancock talks about in his book, America Before. Might have another video today on something I said in this video. Maybe. You never know. But I hope you thought that was cool, and you all have a very nice day.